All right, Mr. Jason Dunn, welcome back to the show. How have things been over the last few weeks?
What's happening? It's been a crazy, eventful couple of weeks, Paul.
Oh, yes. I've been doing good, man. Been doing good. You know, living the dream here in Nashville, Tennessee. And
the Sunshine State. Isn't that what they call it?
No, that's Florida.
Music City. I was way off.
Yeah.
Near throw than S, though.
Yeah, it is worse, though, because today is like overcast and drizzly and rainy. It kind of feels like the Northwest today.
I can kind of relate. I'm about to do that right now where I am, too. Clouds are hovering. It's about to start raining, but I'm gonna stand through it.
There you go, man.
I'm not leaving.
There you go. Cool. So now you've alluded that things have been crazy and busy, and we know that the announcement has been made on Facebook, but because, you know, the kids aren't on Facebook anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I know there are lots of people.
Yeah,
but that's what I hear from people who talk about millennials is, no millennials are on Facebook. They've abandoned that long ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know a lot of millennials on Facebook. Well, okay, whatever. But anyway, so tell the Christian Rock 20 listening audience why life has been so crazy for you.
Okay, well, I guess let's backtrack to about 6 months ago.
Okay.
I had just not jokingly, but just, me and my friends, Matt and Dave, who we started the band Hawk Nelson together, along with our friend Daniel. The four of us created a band called Hawk Nelson. Me, Matt, and Dave all left Hawk Nelson, all for different reasons.
Right.
And we never ever really, we hadn't kept in touch for probably about 15 years. And then out of the blue, about 4 years ago, Matt and Dave just Skyped me, which was random because our relationship kind of ended kind of sourly because, we were best friends playing in a band together, and then I kicked them out of the band. And so, we weren't really on good terms, it was a little bit awkward and uncomfortable. Like, we'd run into each other from time to time. We'd be like, oh, hey, man, yeah, so how's our band crew that we created doing? Yeah. Like, oh, why do you have to say it like that? It made it just a little bit awkward for everybody,
Yeah.
So after I left Hawk and came back home, our relationship had healed, and, some of those scars have healed, and we've come full circle, we're once again just buddies, and just, we hang out and chat, and, our kids hang out, and, it's just, total dad thing,
Yeah.
But anyways, they had Skyped me out of the blue, like I said, about 4 years ago, saying, hey, man, like, do you know what today is? I'm like, no. And I had no idea. They're like, this is the 10-year anniversary for Hawk Nelson's Letter to the President. I'm like, oh, no way. Like, that's crazy. And they just kind of proposed the idea of doing a reunion run, like even just like one or two shows. And I just wasn't personally at a level in my life where I could do that,
Right.
Long story short, I moved back to Canada, rekindled the flame with my former bandmates, and I just kind of threw out the idea via a Facebook video message to Matt and Dave and Dan, being like, hey, okay, we're at the 13-year mark. What do you say in 2 years? Like, it was 2 years to get ready for a 15-year reunion for Letters to the President. What do you guys think about doing that? Matt and Dave both said yes. Daniel said no, which I understand. Obviously, he's still in Hawk Nelson. They've got a busy schedule, it sounds like. So I get that completely.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, well, the three of us want to do it. Do you guys still want to just, take a stab at it? So it just kind of picked up like that, like, pretty quick. Everyone's like, oh yeah, do this. And so we started talking about it some more. And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, we've written like a whole new record, and we've been shooting emails and songs back and forth. And it's like, holy smokes, we have like a whole new band all of a sudden. Obviously, we're not going to use the name Hawk Nelson. That's being used.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we don't really need the band name. We already gave that up. So let's just come up with a new band name. People will still be into the songs. We'll still play all of our songs we recorded as Hawk Nelson. So we're going to play the entire Letters to the President collection. We're going to play all those songs,
right,
and slowly introduce some new ones. So that's what we're doing now, Paul. And we hit the studio next week and got some exciting new stuff coming up.
Nice. So let's talk about. You throw all this out on Facebook before you talk to anybody about it. Was there any trepidation about doing all of this in such a public forum?
Nope, I liked it because I knew they'd have to respond. Matt, like, it's a perfect example. Like, Matt, who was Hawk Nelson's original drummer, him and I and Dave, we grew up. We were all best friends growing up in church together. And Matt, now that he's like we're all in like husband and dad mode, like we're full on dads and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Matt is kind of like an old man. Like, he doesn't check his email ever. So I emailed them, like, I emailed the guys like a week ago, and two of them will respond, and Matt never gets back to me.
Yeah.
Like, because when we did the announcement on Saturday, I was like, okay, guys, you guys still good? We're meeting at my place at 12:30. We're gonna get things going. He didn't respond, so I was like, shoot, does Matt even know about this? I called his cell phone, and his wife answers. Like, that's how old school he is. And so I knew the only way he would see this announcement is if I made a video on Facebook. It doesn't matter how old you are, you always go on Facebook. Look at my mom, perfect example.
Yeah.
So Matt checked his Facebook and saw the video message and responded. So it's great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Cool. So, did they immediately say yes to this, or did it require some thinking, some coaxing? How easy was this to get off the ground?
No, I mean, they started. They proposed the idea to me first. I just wasn't ready. But I was ready. And I think within an hour, Matt got back to me.
Wow.
And then Dave lives on the West Coast, so he's over in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So he's 3 hours behind anyways, and then so by the time he got up and whatever, he saw the messages, flourishing in. So then he responded with a beautiful rendition of California on his guitar. He said he hadn't played that in about 15 years.
Wow.
And I'd be lying if I didn't say it brought tears to my eyes.
Aww.
So it was a beautiful sentimental moment we had,
Aw, some bro love. I love it. Sweet
yeah,
deal,
it really
man.
was. It was beautiful.
Cool. So, of course, the big announcement that you guys made most recently is not just the fact that you guys are going to be doing this thing, but, of course, you had to come up with a new band name because, as you said, Hawk Nelson was already taken. It's a pity. But, so you guys came up with a new name. Lay it on us. What is the new name?
The band name is called Aid and Effect, which is a name that Matt and Dave actually came up with as soon as they left Hawk. I guess they were going to start a project under that name, but they just said they never got around to it. They ended up just doing other stuff, and so it just kind of stayed in the back of their minds. And then we talked about a name for a band. We had a few ideas out there, and Dave brought it to the table. I was like, you know what? That's my favorite one. And we all agreed, and Aid and Effect is our band name, and we're sticking with it.
Sweet deal. Sweet deal.
Pretty stoked about it.
Yeah.
It's got meaning to it. Like when we came up with Hawk Nelson, that just was thrown out on the table just by me randomly by a video game character I created.
Right.
So there wasn't much depth to the name, But this actually, I guess when we started Hawk, we were pretty ministry oriented, we were all about going into the trenches and finding people that struggled with depression and suicide and not really a churchy band, but we were a Christian band because what we were doing was providing aid to these listeners. And, that's kind of still our plan. And that's kind of the whole principle behind this new band, Aid and Effect. And that's kind of what sparked the meaning behind the name. And we're just going to run with it, Paul. And like I said, we're really excited.
Very cool. Now, as you also kind of alluded to, one of your bandmates for Aid and Effect, of course, is new and is not part of the history of Hawk Nelson. Where did you find him?
Jake Goodman is a good man. My wife and I, we've been, I lead the worship at our church here in Peterborough. It's called Pathway, and it's just a really, really great church. Pastor Nathan, he started this church about 7 years ago, I guess, 6 or 7 years ago. And I've kind of known him and his wife my whole life growing up here. And I started leading there once I moved home 3 years ago, I guess. And Jake was sitting with actually my brother and his wife. And I was just kind of, scoping him out. I'm like, who is that guy? So right after church, I went over to my brother and I'm like, hey, what does that guy play? I didn't even ask if he played an instrument. I could just tell just by the look that he's a band guy,
Yeah.
Total instant bromance. And my brother Joe was like, oh, he kind of plays a bit of everything, guitar, bass, and drums and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And long story short, I started chatting with him and got to know Jake on a personal level. And he actually started playing with me at church. And our first kind of conversation we had ever was, he's like, you and I actually have some mutual friends. I'm like, oh yeah, who's that? And he started naming off the guys from his band called Kairos. I don't know if you remember Kairos at all.
I do remember Kairos, yeah.
Yeah, so we toured with them with Hawk for many years, and they're from Alberta, and Jake actually was living out near Edmonton, and he was their tour manager right after I left Hawk.
Oh, okay.
So we had some mutual friends there in the Christian touring industry, you know?
Yeah.
So once we started having that conversation, I was like, okay, like, what, you know this guy? Oh, yeah, okay. So we kind of connected the dots there, and he played metal, or he played in a metal band too. He was a bass player in a metal band. And he was just a perfect fit. And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I'll bet you any money I'm going to play in a band with that guy someday. You know, that was just kind of a joke. And when Daniel said no to rejoining with us, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to ask Jake. He'll for sure be down to do it. He, of course, said yes. And so we're really happy to have him to be part of this.
Nice. Very cool. So you talked about having pretty much a full record get written kind of quickly after deciding to do something, and not even necessarily knowing what that was immediately, it sounded like. But getting a full record written, how much different do you feel like that is going to be from either old Hawk Nelson stuff or from side projects that you've done and whatnot since then?
Yeah, I mean, my writing hasn't changed really at all since I was like 12 years old. Like, I haven't gotten any better or any worse. It's just been completely just the same the whole way.
Yeah.
But I think my influences have always pretty much stayed the same, and I think people appreciate that. You know, I grew up listening to Blink-182 and, you know, MXPX. They were always like my biggest influences. And of course, my favorite band of all time is Goldfinger from Southern California. And you know, with the early Hawk stuff, Dave, our guitar player Dave, he was really a driving force behind the creative process for that first Letters to the President album. And I could tell right away when Dave left Hawk, you could feel a transition beginning in that band. You could feel the band, I don't want to say evolving, but it evolved into something completely different, and not in a bad way. It was just, when Jonathan Steingard started, he took Dave's spot as the guitar player. You know, Dave's influences were, you know, Tom DeLonge was his hero, you know, from Blink, where John's hero was like the Edge from U2.
Right.
And you know, that's a big difference in just guitar work and just songwriting, and you could feel the difference, and for sure, and not really in a bad way. It was just different.
Yeah.
And I do miss the old Blink style, you know, for that guitar tone and stuff like that. And I'm really excited that, you know, Dave emailed me an idea a few months back, which is going to be our first single. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, I just remember being like, oh, we're back. I'm like, this is so good. I love what he's done here. And then we just kind of built it, you know, one email at a time. We've been shooting emails back and forth for the last, like I said, probably 4 or 5 months now. And yeah, I'm really, really excited, Paul, because it's, you listen to it, you'd be like, okay, this sounds like 2002.
Right.
And I say that in a positive way, because that's, to me, that's when music was alive to me, you know, and I think a lot of people can agree, like, there's guitars and real drums in these songs, you know, which I feel has been lacking in the industry for a while now, and it's sad. And I don't know, the Foo Fighters are a band that has stayed pretty consistent. They're just a good rock band, and I'd like to follow their lead. And I don't know, just really quickly, I know I kind of jump all over the place. As I was getting ready to leave Hawk Nelson, you know, there's a lot of stuff I was battling. I wasn't sure, was this a good idea? Was it the right idea? What's going to happen in the future for me? You know, all those kind of questions I was battling in my head. One of my mentors while I was in that band was a man by the name of Eddie DeGarmo. The infamous Eddie DeGarmo. And I remember going to his office in Nashville, or Brentwood, I guess. And I just kind of let him know what was going on and what to do. And I wasn't enjoying the transition from what we were doing as Hawk Nelson. And he said one thing, he's a very, very wise man, you know, and I've respected everything he's ever said to me. And this really stuck with me, in my last days with him. He's like, you're Hawk Nelson. He's like, what are you? He's like, you're a rock band. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so be a rock band. And I never ever forgot that. And unfortunately, it didn't really go my way. It wasn't a one man band. We were 4 people collectively. And, you know, I knew which direction they wanted to go. And I just wasn't comfortable with that direction. I'm a rock and roll guy, you know, I'm a punk rock guy, and that's my natural, that's where I go towards. And so I know me, Matt, Dave, and Jake are kind of all on the same page with that. And it's, in any area of life, it's important to share the same kind of goals and same purpose and same vision. And, it's great because I know Hawk Nelson now has that with me out of the picture.
Right.
And I know that Aiden Effect has that now with me in that picture, you know, so it's a good fit for both parties, I think. And, yeah, I'm really excited.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So now, since you guys have made this announcement and after you guys have got the lineup solidified and everything, have any of the current version of Hawk Nelson said anything to you about it?
I haven't heard anything. No. It's like I said, I left almost 6 years ago now. It's pretty crazy how time has gone, man.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't seen nor heard from them in years, and it's just kind of one of those. It's. I don't think it's like there's no hatred or animosity or anything like that. I think more or less it would just be awkward. It's like running into your ex-girlfriend in the mall. You're like, oh shit, I gotta go down. I gotta go into this store. I don't want to see her parents. They're like, oh, that's awkward. It's just kind of like that. And, like when I left, whenever it was, like, it was just awkward, I think. And I think it's 6 years. I'm pretty sure we've all moved on, and I didn't want that to stop us from being able to continue to make music, though. Yeah. And it's hard because no matter how hard I try to ignore the fact that I was in Hawk Nelson, I can't ignore that. And I don't think they can either. And I know they've tried to kind of push me out of the picture. But, when I do solo dates and stuff like that, people want like a press photo. I still have to Google Hawk Nelson to find an image of me on the internet that I can give them. It's like, that's the truth of the matter is there's no avoiding that. And I don't think I'll ever be able to avoid that. Yeah. As much as we probably both want to. Yeah. There's just no escaping it. And I've come to terms with that. And hopefully in the next few years, I can just Google Aiden Effect and pull my picture off the internet.
There you go. Man. There you go. Now, here's a question, though. When the CD comes out, and since you're a 2002 kind of a guy, I know there will be CDs, in as much as the world has gone digital and vinyl, which is funny. But will there be a sticker on it that says featuring former members of Hawk Nelson?
Oh, I'd say so.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was just talking to someone the other night. I'm like, well, what happens, because 3 of the members of Aiden Effect were in the band Hawk Nelson. Right. Which is like, so now if, say you're going to play a song off Letters to the President, you're like, here is Letters to the President by Aiden Effect. Right. Because I know it's just a weird transition, I guess, that we're going to have to sort out. Yeah. But, I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah. I got better things to worry about,
Well, now,
it is funny, though.
Yeah. Well, here's my last jerky question that I'm going to ask, I promise. And you're more than welcome to not answer. But I think we know each other well enough to know that I'm saying this in all jest. How long is it going to be before you kick Matt, Dave, and Jake out of the band?
Oh. No, we've made a pact. And I made this pact with Hawk Nelson. Like, as soon as one guy leaves, we fold. Okay. That's it. All right. And another great thing, Paul, is I'm not approaching this the same way I approach Hawk Nelson. When we created Hawk Nelson, we were like 17, 18 years old. Like I was in high school still. Yeah. So like Hawk Nelson was my everything. Like I gave my entire life to Hawk Nelson. Yeah. My entire life now is completely dedicated to my wife and my son. Right. Like I'm a full-fledged family man now. Like that's all I think about and all I care about. Obviously, I love playing music, and I'm so thankful I still get to do that on my church on a regular basis. And now that this has come up, I'm like, okay, I get that creative outlet. But now it's like at the end of the day, I go home and I'm with my wife and my son, and that takes precedence over everything. Yeah. And I know all 4 of us are in that same boat, So this isn't like hey, we're starting a new career. This is what we're going for. We're just doing this because we wanted to do it. And like I said, like we plan to do maybe 1 or 2 shows, but all of a sudden all these bookings are coming up and emails are coming in. Like, would you be interested in doing this? I'm like, oh shoot, now we got to think of like visas and how do we approach this? Right. And so that's the thing we're still trying to figure out. I think it'd be nice if we're going to start documenting everything. And even if all that comes out of this is a beautiful DVD and like a short tour, or just a short festival run, whatever, man, like we'll still continue to make music, and that's so cool, especially today. Yeah. All you got to do is put it on the internet and people are going to hear it. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of new stuff we have to figure out in the way the industry works. Yeah. Like I said, we have a whole record written, but you don't release records anymore. Apparently, you just do a song every 3 months or 3 or 4 months, I guess. And so I got to figure all that out too. But that being said, we do have a first single that we're working on starting next week, and it's pretty high energy, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Nice. Very called Making Things New. There, I said it. I was going to hang on to that, but there I said it.
What? Say that again? I'm sorry. I was talking over you.
The song is called Making Things New.
Ooh, okay.
And cool. It's just kind of a trip down memory lane, talking about, you know, how things left off and how things are going now and how the crap that we have to deal with in life has all come to an end and, you know, things are being made new. It's pretty fresh and exciting.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Now, I know that this is probably way outside of the purview of kind of what you're thinking about now, but have you guys discussed anything about trying to do any sort of either A, being on a label, or B, doing some crowdfunding, or what is that looking like at this point?
No, see, when I did the Lights Go Down project, I did a crowdfunding thing, and that's way more stressful than just trying to come up with the money yourself. Because like, I needed, I think it was $30,000 or something to make that record. And the record turned out awesome because you pay that kind of money, obviously.
Right.
But I didn't raise the money. I didn't get enough. So I was like, I only got like half of it. So it's like, shoot, these people are expecting a product now that I can't deliver. Right. And then you end up just screwing yourself up. You're like, oh, this sucks. So, I'm so thankful for the people in my life. Like a lot of this has to do with Full Circle. I'm sure there's got to be a song in there somewhere called Full Circle or the album or something. But pretty much everybody that was invested in Hawk Nelson early on has come back to me saying, I want to be a part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether they were serious or not. So Jeff Wardell, a guy we did our very first EP with Hawk, he hit me up right away. He's like, are you really putting the band back together? And I was like, yep. And he's like, I want to do your record. He's like, I just want to do it. So it just, to get that kind of support from someone like him, you know, he's been a huge influence for us, you know, from the time we were kids. And so just to be able to work with Jeff again has just been, it's just been awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to the studio and it's 2 weeks we go up there and we start knocking this thing out.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, dude, we look forward to spinning the new single and are very excited about where things are going to go. And also, I know we got into this a lot the last time we talked, but I know that you've traveled through a lot to get to where you're at right now. And I'm happy that it sounds like you're personally doing really well. And I think that that's, you know, ultimately more important anyway, but I'm happy for you.
I don't know how to say it, man, but God has been so good and so faithful through all of this. I don't regret anything in life. I do believe that everything does happen for a reason, and just be able to be back here and just be back with my family and back with my friends and just coming back to where I needed to be, where I belong just as a human, just to get back on track has been a huge blessing. And yeah, I couldn't be happier, Paul.
Fantastic, dude. Fantastic. Awesome, man. Well, is there anything else that you want to throw out there that we haven't touched on? I feel like we've gone over most everything, but I know that there's always a chance.
We knocked a lot out there.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
I don't think so. I think we got it all there.
Sweet deal, man. Sweet deal. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time. I know things are getting crazy busy up there, and dude, just keep up the good work, and
yes,
we'll look forward to hearing what you guys put out.
Thanks so much, Paulie. I love you, man. You're the best. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this for me. I told you you're going to be the first guy I was going to call.
Yeah. I know, but then you called the Riot first.
No, they called me first. So there's a bit of a loophole there. I did want to get you first, but they're like, their only availability was 8:30 in the morning. I was like, oh no.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good, man.
So
it's all
good. They called me. You're the first I called. So loophole.
No, dude, it's all good, man. It's all good. I hope that all this stuff combines to give you some good buzz for this, and I hope that it carries over till the music drops.